Awesome. All right. Aaron, you said you had something before we get started?
Yeah, after our session last time, it occurred to me that it seems really weird that in the letter they sent to Osiris, the beginning of the letter is only epithets of the sender and nothing to the receiver. That's weird, right?
It is weird. Normally you would have like scribe of blah, blah, blah A to scribe B, and then some kind of greeting formula, and then you go into the text. So it's very unusual that only one of the two parties is mentioned, I think.
So are we wrong? Or maybe some of the epithets for one and some are for the other?
Let's take
I
a
don't
quick
know.
look at it. I think Gardiner, well, let's do one thing. Let's take a quick look at what Gardiner had to say, because I seem to remember he comments on that. Here we go. Footnote number 6. As in the letter to Neith, only the titles of the sender, namely the sun god, he thinks the sun god, we had concluded it was Atum, right? Yeah, are given. And to him is accorded the fivefold titulary of the Egyptian pharaoh. Blah, 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 blah. All the details. I'm going to skip that. Then he points out that son of Re doesn't make sense if you're talking about Re Atum, so they changed that. So son of Tach.
Huh.
To discuss the remaining names in detail would take us too far afield. Okay, that's nice. So no further comment there. But let's see what we think. Because there's like the last part that is a bit nebulous. Where was it again? Let me go back to the names. Where are they? Here we go. Isn't it? The gold Horus over here. Then comes the Insubiti. Then comes the son of Ptah. And then comes this little thing about eating gold in faience. And then the titles are over. So where does the name end? Saptach should be the last one, right? So this part here definitely ends here. The Warmoth is already part of something else. Warmoth, I mean, unless this would be somehow nominalized to the one who's eating gold, right? Is that plausible? There would be several things missing here. You would need an article, I think. You would need an N. And you would sort of think there would be a name there, like Osiris or Wennefer or something of that nature.
Wouldn't you need a preposition also?
You would.
An N or an R or something?
You would, which occasionally could be missing. I've seen that, where the N just drops out. But yeah, there's too much missing here in my mind for this to be a title. You would need a preposition and an article, and you would really expect the name somewhere.
Okay, I guess he's just really rude.
It is kind of weird. It is kind of weird. Let me see. Does Ellie have anything before we go on? And does he point that out? And I should add that some people have interpreted the whole series of titles to be the titles of Osiris, but we talked about that the last time. That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't fit with the titles. They're clearly Atums. I mean,
I suppose the audience knows who the receiver is, so maybe in terms of storytelling, they just didn't feel it was necessary to identify.
Yeah, maybe, huh?
Or maybe it's a literary device to establish superiority that wouldn't actually be used in letters between humans or letters between the pharaoh and people. I don't know. That seems a little. I mean, it doesn't seem like a natural letter that one scribe would write to another scribe, but maybe because Atum is sending it, right, and he's listing all of his epithets. Is that, trying to remember?
Like a royal decree, sort of, like
like the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings sends these regards regarding, but like before all that, you have a million epithets, like
right. Yeah. And then basically he says, and I mean, it's for you. You better follow.
Yeah, exactly. You can almost just like skip and get right to the point if you need to skim. So
like a power play, basically. Could be. Would need to see if that ever happens, like in real letters, where somebody writes to their inferior. If you ever leave the salutation out.
Is Osiris an inferior?
Well, that leads to the next
Good question.
question. Let's take a look at the
Fight.
exactly. Take a look
Compared to the old
at the next
gods,
few
maybe.
lines. I think that's actually an excellent place to pick it up, because where did we end? I mean, they're asking for advice though, right? So I'm not sure if it's an inferior. If you ask
Yeah.
for what should we do, you normally don't
Yeah,
ask
I mean, I
inferiors.
don't want to derail us on this. I mean, it just is an
Hi, Chris.
interesting curiosity.
Okay. So the last thing that happened was basically then that the letter, after all these titles, really only has a very short, the contents are actually very brief, namely, essentially send to us what we should be doing about Horus and Seth, so that we don't take a decision in our ignorance. That's where we left it. And yeah, here begins something new. This should really start in red. It doesn't. Don't know why. But basically, here's a new section. So let's start from the Kharir. And as usual, whoever wants it. Jeopardy music playing. Don't make me pick one.
I can do it if no one else did, but I did the last line, so I want to give someone else a chance.
I'll cause some issues.
All right. Go for it.
All right. So we're at Hieratic, right? So we have Hieratic, Mechet, Hersa, Nin. Keep going. I know the sentence starts a new sentence at winning, right?
Let's translate that, but then please go on afterwards. Yeah.
Okay, so without knowing. And after Hersa. And after is all that's saying, and afterwards?
And after this, yeah, and afterwards. Exactly. That's it. I'm not quite sure why you'd need a double one here. Emchet Khersa, because both mean after. Would have to double check. There is a formula that's very common in narrations. Actually, you know what? I'll check it now real quick, if you don't mind. Because I remember in the Tale of the Two Brothers, almost every paragraph starts with, and after that, and after several days, and the next morning. It's always like some kind of time word. So let's take a quick look how that is. Okay, here we have it. Here's one already. Khair emchet tachech. And after after the land had become bright, in other words, after the sun rose again, it's only emchet. What do we have here? Khair emchet. Khair emchet. Kharu kenu. And after many days, emsanen. After this, and after many days after this. So maybe there's something missing in between. That would make more sense. Let's have a look at some more paragraphs. No, this is just an introduction. Let me go a little bit further. And at the time of plowing doesn't completely fit. Here's another one. Khair emchet khrau kenu khersanin. So exactly identical to the other one. And after many days, khrau khersanin. After that. So I would say this is probably short for that formula. And that's why you have the double emchet. Feels like something's missing in between. So let's maybe substitute it into, and after many days after this.
Right.
Okay, let's go on.
And then we have winning pa. Wacha. Her seper. Nisu. Sarah. All right, then we have
then comes his name.
Ea Chef.
Chetef or something, yeah.
Neb Jaffa.
That's right. Let's pause here.
After this, many days after this, I said, and then the Waha. I should remember this word. I don't remember.
From context, any guess? It ends with a string to hold papyrus scrolls together.
Then this, or then the document, or
Right, the letter.
better.
The letter they just wrote, yeah.
And I know, let's see, so we have hair, then after this, and seper, I know it's a verb. I mean, it can mean to arrive.
That's right.
Arrive to the king, son of Ra, and his name is killing me. Chef.
Yeah, adjective, great of abundance, I think. And he's also the Neb Jaffa or Jaffa.
Lord of Jaffa can mean offering. I don't think it means that here though, right? It can mean offerings.
Maybe. I think it can also just be food. Let's look it up real quick, unless somebody knows. I think you're right though with offerings. Hang on. Let me check it real quick. Do I need this for anything? No, I don't think so. Simple search.
Visions sometimes.
Rations?
You said visions?
Yeah.
Here we go. Food, nourriture, so food again. And that's it? Okay, that's lame. TLA. Yeah, this one I don't need, so let's go.
The determinatives on that word are kind of interesting with the pa bird.
Oh, let's take a quick look at that a moment. Before we do that. So Jaffa, provision, sustenance. Yeah, let's go with that. So let's say food, maybe. What was it? The Lord of Food, right? Neb Jaffa or Jaffa. So let's take a look at the determinatives, you said. Determinatives. Yeah, why does it have a birdie bird? Does it
looks
have
like
one?
a verb of motion with the legs and the bird like rise or something, but
It
weird.
does. Yeah.
Or noun with the
Right. And I'm not quite sure why that is. I mean, you would expect something like this rather, right? Like a bread loaf or something. Let's take a look at how it's spelled. 379 sentences. You can always use the old TLA to look at the Zettelarchiv, the archive of index cards. And let's see what's in there. Oops, hang on. I'm going to scroll a little bit because sometimes they have a separate section on spelling, which doesn't seem to be the case here, unfortunately. Okay, great attempt. Oh, here we go. So this is some kind of bread loaf. Determinative can be alt means old ohne without. Starting from the Middle Kingdom, often with the bread loaf or with the Y1 book roll. Since Middle Kingdom also using this kind of goose, which becomes predominant in the New Kingdom. Neues Reich, NR is New Kingdom. Always with a J, never with a D. Okay, all right. Here's some more.
So it's always with the goose so far that doesn't have the wing up, but I think that's an alternate for pa sometimes.
Not really, although I like your idea. There could be that it's sort of like maybe becoming one and like one is a substitute in hieratic for the other. Possibly, but shouldn't be. That akkus looks very different in hieratic. So
yeah,
it's a bit.
Could
Oh, wait,
describe-
look at this.
yeah, that
This
has
one.
wings. Well,
And this is 18th, 19th dynasty, so this is before us. Is it? Yes, because our text is from the 20th. So here's one more example, which has the goose. Not
but
the
it
goose.
still doesn't have the legs, so we're not quite sure why that's happening.
But the scribe had just when drawing the goose, if you look at it in the hieratic, are the legs attached to the bird?
Let's have a good look.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. They might be misinterpreting the hieratic.
Let's see what we have there. Where is it? Here. Well, it's like par, honestly. So it could be, I mean, in hieratic, you always use this one here for it's just convention to transcribe it like that, because the two different forms of the par bird look exactly this. They look the same. They're not distinguished in hieratic anymore. In contemporary hieroglyphs, you would see the par bird with like one wing up and one wing down. But in hieratic, there's no separate sign for it. That being said, the Arcus should look very different. It's a very complex sign. What's it called? Acupal, right? Acupal. Here we go. It's actually there. It's right there. Don't even need to go there. This is what it should look like. So it's quite different.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's cute, huh? Because it's Aku, I guess they picked this one. I didn't realize that until we just talked about it. So yeah. So what did we have? Grade of abundance, lord of food. Apparently that is his title. Okay. All right. I don't think there's anything grammatical here apart from that weird double after that we talked about. Any questions? If not, I would say well done. And somebody else, please go on with the next half sentence.
So AHNF
Mhm.
Ashgab MJR Ashpa. Is it started with you or it started with?
Starts with the U. Mhm.
So you ha.
Mhm. The same ucha is here. Mhm. Yeah,
And Baef.
that's right. What do you make out of it?
So that yes, and then he cried out a great cry.
Mhm. That's right.
MJR, is that after or is it
After. Mhm.
so after crying?
Ash can have two meanings. Ash can be to shout, and it can mean to read as well. It's still the letter meaning is still osh in Coptic. So when you read a letter, for example, you osh it, which is this word.
Okay. So after reading the letter
Mhm.
in his presence.
Correct. So translation is perfect. Let's talk a bit about the grammar, because this one here is tricky. Emjer ash pa ucha embachef. So embachef in front before him. So that's clear. Emjer can take what can it take? In Middle Egyptian, it can take an infinitive or sejm f. I'm not sure if the infinitive can still be used in late Egyptian. The prospective sejm f certainly can. So it could be a sejm f. The only problem is for the sejm f, there is no subject, because there's paucha, the letter, but the letter is not reading, the letter is being read. So some people, like for example, Ramses Online has substituted Emjer Ashtu Paucha Embachef. After one reads the letter or read the letter in his presence. So there could be a missing two in here, which is clearly not in the original text. Ali has it could be a two, or it could be a passive sejm f. I would kind of doubt that, because the passive sejm f, if I remember correctly, is only used for a few verbs, and ash is not one of them. More like to give, to do, but not the rest of the verbs. So it's a bit weird. Could it be an infinitive? I mean, it would be infinitive with a long direct object afterwards. I suppose it could. I'm just not sure if that's still being used a lot in late Egyptian. So I'm not 100% clear on this one. I think I'd go with the majority opinion that there could be a two missing. But wanted to point that out, that while the meaning is clear, the grammar is a little bit questionable in this part of the sentence. Any questions? If not, then we're making good progress. Should we take a quick look at the hieratic before we go on? All right, let's see, nodding. So then let's quickly recap. Where were we? Khair, Emchet, Mchet with little walking legs. Maybe something missing in between. Who knows? Sa. Sa has this very. We had that before, I think, but good reminder that it's this. The writing is really simple compared to the hieroglyphic variant. Nun, which kind of looks like Im. If you go a little bit back, here's what Im looks like. This is quite similar, maybe with a longer middle stroke, but I would say there's confusion potential here. However, this phrase "Khersanen" after this is very common, so that should tip you off that that's probably what that is. Also with the double N afterwards. Okay, Wen in Pa. That all makes sense, right? Wen in Pa. Ucha. So fully spelled out U. Ha ligature, then a long papyrus string here. Yeah, probably a smudge glyph. Chur with a huge determinative stroke. Super. They love doing that starting. I'm not sure when that starts. If that only starts with the Ramessides, or maybe it may already be in Dynasty 18. I'm not completely sure. But this becomes more and more common to write the spur with everything squished underneath. So this can get pretty ridiculous, where you have like a ton of stuff, basically. You see, we can't really do this here in the hieroglyphic transcription, but they could do it, squeeze everything under the spur sign. I think you might also see it with the word for month, where there's like a lot of stuff squished underneath the sign. So in
Really,
this
I have a
case,
quick question. Sorry to interrupt you.
no, sure, go ahead.
Where is the olive bird under that first set of glyphs? Is it,
You mean the ucha or this one?
yeah, in the ucha?
Ah, sure. Let's talk about it. So let me hit the annotate button here. Annotate, draw. So this one here is the U, right? That's essentially the way that it would look in like Middle Kingdom hieratic as well. You would spell it like this. That's the U. Then here is the Ha. That's this here. And then what would you do for the Aleph bird? There's two versions. You can write it like this. That's the fuller version. And then you can write it like this, which is like the abbreviated version. And that's what this is. But because he likes ligatures, what he does is he writes this, and then he ligatures over into the.
Okay. Got it.
And
And we
that's
see this a lot. We've seen this in different places with the
correct.
long ligature. Okay. Thank you.
Correct. He just loves doing that. And as you go on, this becomes more and more common. They just like the little squarish ligatures for several words. It looks nice. It's very
Yeah, it's
elegant.
pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you.
No, great question. Hang on. Clear all drawings. Here we go. So then we get to the spare. And so that's an R, that's a U. If somebody told you, it's because it's broken in the middle, it's kind of hard to recognize. Then the walking legs, so super, to reach. R, su with a big determinative stroke. It's actually kind of weird that it goes through both. That could be easy to misread, but what else should it be? Then, especially since it's followed by a bird on a stick, you can see the top part here of the little Horus glyph. So the king, divine king, if you will, Sade, determinative stroke. Then here begins the cartouche, the way it always is, and then with the book roll underneath, which looks exactly like the Aleph bird. You can't really tell them apart. These two abbreviations are pretty much the same. If you think that's horrible, wait till you see Demotic, where like every sign can be 5 different things. Ch, differentiated by an extra dot. That's why it's not an R. So Chetef. Kind of hard to see that this is this little X here. And then hand with a stick. I think that makes sense. Neb, fully spelled out. J, a really long J. Jeff, Jeffa, now with a full Aleph. We discussed the bird before. Walking legs, horizontal plural strokes. Aha, NF. Ash, Segab, or maybe it's Segab. I'm not quite sure what the stroke order of the G is. Segab. Yeah, there's a boo, there's a tooth for whatever reason. Nah, A2 man. R again with the book roll underneath Mjer. And then he made a mistake and wrote Mjer again and X'd it out. Osh or Ash, Pa, Ucha, same ligature. Bachef. Okay, I think. I mean, look, we know all these sounds already, which is kind of cool. Now, let's continue. Great job so far. Who wants the next one? I'll show it to you first so you can decide. I think this is a weird spelling for to answer. I think is it Resvet? Does anybody know? I say weird because the S comes at the beginning, and I don't think that's correct. Let me quickly look it up. Répondre. Nope. Probably with an accent. Is that? No. What am I doing wrong? Ah, here we go. Répondre. No, that's worship, which still is in Coptic. Sefer anything? That doesn't make sense. Chesef, like I was thinking. Yeah, here you go. Chesef is response. And for some reason they don't have it as a, here it is as a verb. So chesef is to respond. And here it's spelled sechef, which is a different word. So kind of weird, but I thought that would be important to get the next sentence right. Where are we?
Is that a way that a stative is formed, or makes causative where you add an S to some Egyptian words? Maybe I'm confusing that with something.
So the S causative is super common.
Causative. Yeah.
It is. It's somehow related to, I think, to similar forms with an H in Semitic. I believe that's how that works. But yeah, this one is not one, I think. I think this should just be chesef to answer. Although it's kind of weird that there has a T in it as well. But hey. I mean, what would chef be? Let's look it up. We'll search. Chef. To undo, to delete. Nah.
To perceive? Is that?
Yeah, but that should really have
would
an
have an
I
I.
in
Yeah.
it. And
Okay.
none of this.
Maybe because the first sign is so large, they didn't have room for it, and they decided to put it in front. I don't know.
It could
Seems
be.
weird that they have it at all. I don't know.
It could be like one of those graphical transposition things to make things look nice.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
It's funny because it's usually written with that triliteral too, instead of spelled out like this.
Right.
Which would have been easier, I would think.
Maybe. I'm not sure how to write that one in hieratic.
Yeah.
Before
I can take this next.
Okay, go for it.
Weninef.
Mm-hmm.
What did we say? Hesfet. Hesfet to F. Os.
Indeed.
Erpaneti Neberger. Im Chana. Ta Passaget.
Okay, perfect. Let's pause here. And what do you make out of it?
Then he answered it very quickly to the to where I'm thinking this is where the Lord of all was, to the place where he was therein, together with to the Ennead.
Perfect. You got it. That's
why that second R? It seems weird.
Yeah.
Hana-er.
It is weird. It is weird. There is an Urchena. Or if the Chena wouldn't be there, I would think he's just trying to say twice. But it is kind of weird. Chena don't know. Chena, don't know. Kind of weird. And it's an NT here. So if he's trying to repeat like can stand for you, like for circumstantial or something. But since this here is a relative sentence with an NT, there wouldn't be an EU here. So I'm a bit puzzled by this, to be honest.
Could it be like a type of superlative construction with the double most quickly to maybe? I don't know.
Unlikely, honestly.
No? Okay.
Unlikely. I think he's sending the letter to where the like Aaron had it, to where he's at. Im in this construction doesn't need a suffix pronoun, which is also interesting. You don't have to say im off. You can just say im. I guess that's what becomes imau in Coptic. But yeah, I think that's what the R is. It's surely just the direction. So you're right that R can be a comparative, but it would need an adjective for that. Faster than the pest jet doesn't make any sense in the context, honestly. So I think it's just directional. But good point. Kind of weird. Other questions about this one? Who's the F?
Oh, and he answered, I thought he answered the letter, so he answered it.
That's correct.
Yeah,
The way
okay.
they had it. Just want to
And I'm
double check.
assuming that this two is here because it's a pronunciation thing for the T at the end of Hesvet, but I'm not sure about that.
Right. Although Chesef doesn't have a T. What they sometimes do is, you know how people sometimes form the tenses wrong in English too? It doesn't happen a lot, but I mean, with native speakers, but it does happen. I've seen it, or heard it, I should say. Foreign speakers make that mistake more often, where they would say like teached instead of taught or something. And this kind of thing by analogy they do, where they add the T even in places where it shouldn't be, because they know it's an infinitive. Infinitive normally has a T, so let's put a T there. It could be that. I don't think it's a weak verb. Geez, a weak verb. That's a tongue twister if you're German. Okay, all right. Very good. So he is writing really quickly to the Lord of All into the pest jet in response. And what else? Erjet saying. Let's see, what does he say? Anybody wants to take this one?
I could sound it out, but I would have some trouble with the vocab, to be honest. So,
No worries, go for it.
Erjedi, then Erjedi ir to Gabu or Gabui,
Mhm,
and then where? Or no, maybe that's just a determinative. Gabui,
mhm.
za,
Yeah,
okay, and
that's
then
right.
za, and it's Horus or Heru,
Mhm.
and then just that's different. That's different than the olive bird. So
Which one? This one?
yeah, the one after Heru.
This
Is
one?
that just another word for Heru?
This is just because Horus is a god, so he's getting the god determinative. In
No,
hieroglyphs,
I
you would
meant the
have
one before that. The
this one.
hawk. No, between the two
Oh,
bird and sticks.
oh, that's the Horus.
Okay, so why is there one for Za as well as for Horus?
Good question. Any guess what could be? This is an excellent question. And luckily it has a clear answer. So you're
Well, that's good.
saying why is this? So it could be a divine son, obviously. That's one option.
Right.
But what would you say if it were, hang on, let me see if I can do hieroglyphs in here. If you saw this, ba, 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 ba,
Or are you doing
CC.
Zare? No. Okay.
No, not Zare, but you're getting there. Of course, I deleted it before I could get there. So here we go. If it were spelled like that, instead of in hieroglyphs.
Right. It would just
Okay.
be Zanesu or Nisu.
Not necessarily.
No?
Let me give you another tip. What if it
Sure.
was an A1 man afterwards?
Okay, it'd be Zai.
Correct. And now
Right.
if the person who's speaking is a king, it would still be Zai, but it would be spelled with
Right.
a king determinative,
I
right?
see. You would have a different determinative based
Right.
on the person.
Now, if
So
you want,
here it's Zai.
it's Zai as said by a
Okay.
god. You got it.
Okay. Thank you.
You
That's
got
a good example.
Mhm.
Okay, so Zai and then Herui. And then Her
Mhm.
or Heri, Herich.
That's right. Ich. Let's pause there for a moment
And then
because that
you.
is
Okay, got it. Sure.
Mhm.
All right. So he said ear to. All right. So ear is do, and
Mhm.
then that's it's a part of the verb. So ear and then to. So and then we have geb bau.
That one you'll need to look up because it's not a super
Yeah.
common verb. Let's take a look at what it could be.
Guessing it has something to do with strengthening or something that's negative because of the bad bird, but it could be a
Correct.
lot of different things.
It is negative. And I think it's spelled group writing here, so let's look it up as Gabi. One meaning is to be weak, but it can also be to weaken. It can be
Okay.
to hurt, I think, which
Okay.
honestly kind of fits best in this context because we had a sentence earlier on page 49, which is it is not good, bønnene for de unu, pa gebiti, this hurting me,
Right.
hurting me before the Ennead, like this, basically.
Right.
And so since it's the same author, I would say, why don't we just run with it? That makes the most sense,
Okay.
sense in context.
So for the form of this verb, it's the object is me with the e on the end, right of it, right? So
Do you mean
or
this
no?
one? No.
Yeah, no, that's
This is
part of
part
the
of
verb. Yeah,
it's
be
part of the verb. Gabi.
okay. So two here is so ear is also part. Ear and two are also part of the verb.
Correct.
Right. So it's like upon doing or like
Right.
two is you, second person. I'm trying to remember what form this is.
Okay, let's unravel this. It's a good grammar point. So what is
Okay.
two normally in a Sitchamef?
Trying to remember. So it's you, masculine singular, or
Are you sure?
remember.
I haven't done that before, but let's do a quick conjugation.
Yeah, let's do a recap. Thank you.
So I do is what?
Ir tui.
Okay, yeah, that was a trick question. You're right. If you like first present would be tui iri, right?
Right.
Oh, you did, I guess. But no, I meant more like in the classical Sejamef form. I did, or I.
Oh,
may I do?
Iri.
That's right.
Right.
And then second person, masculine.
Irek.
That's right.
Irles. Or no, Irlech. Then Iref.
Right.
Then Irles. And then Irlen.
Wonderful.
And then Irlenchen.
Chen, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Irchen, right. Then Chenten. Trying to remember that one. Irchem? No.
You just
Irten? Irsen. That's right.
You got it. Or in New Egyptian and Late Egyptian, I mean, sorry. Iru.
Right.
It gets more and more
Okay.
replaced by U. So two is none of them, as you can tell.
Right.
K would be second person singular. But how do you say one, may one do?
Let's see, may one. Like may he. So tuif.
Irtuf. So this is just the indefinite pronoun. It is basically like in French you would say on.
Okay, like someone.
someone. It's the indefinite pronoun.
Okay.
So this one's really still very popular in Late Egyptian. You lose it in
Okay.
Coptic, but in Late Egyptian it's still there. So ir2 then is one does.
Right.
I have to help you a little bit here because this whole thing is a second tense.
Okay.
So
So
this
one is made weak, or one is weak.
not quite.
No,
It's
no
a
worries.
second tense.
Oh,
So the whole
like
thing is like gebitu, but you put the iri in front. It's just very common to do that as in second tense verbs.
right.
So
So
think of
is it
it.
like
Mhm.
is it like for a first for the first tense they're a simple statement. The second tense is a particular, like a general place in time, like a general statement. Is that
Yeah, you're
like
going
when one does, or like a cleft sentence?
is correct.
Something like that.
Normally, the second tense is to emphasize some kind of adverbial statement.
Right.
And
Okay.
it's also being used in question. In Coptic, it's being used in questions.
Topic is questions.
I think sometimes also in Late Egyptian. I'm not 100% sure. But in this case, it would be to emphasize an adverbial statement in the sentence,
Okay.
or an adverbial part of the sentence. Okay, let's
Okay.
see what you got.
All right. Saying here to he is weaken he weakens me, or saw. I'm sorry, guys.
That's fine. Let's unravel that systematically. So,
Yeah.
if you wanted to say he weakens me, how would you say he weakens? If it was
It'd
such
be
a F.
Gabief.
That's right.
Gabief.
And me would be we, right?
We, right.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
So if you have, what would be gebiu, gebitu we?
Right.
Following
Let's see. So he when he weakens me, or
one
when
wiki.
one weakens me. Right. Right. Okay.
One weakens me. Okay.
Someone
Ge
weakens me.
okay.
Right.
Gebiu tu sai. Okay. Gebiu tu sai.
So it's my sai is my something, or maybe it's a preposition like upon me.
It's my son. It's my son.
My oh yeah, right. Okay, my son. Right.
So what do you make out of the
So
whole thing?
someone weakens my son, or someone is weakening my son.
You got it.
Or
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Now make it into it doesn't let me type there anymore.
He said
Annoying.
that someone is weakening my son.
And not any son, but son
The
Horus.
son of Horus.
And my son Horus.
My son Horus. Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
Sorry, guys. Thank you for
No,
your
you're
patience.
good. This is useful because when you build
It
it
is
like
really helpful
up
for
that.
me.
Okay. So now you want to say, I'm making a bad Egyptian sentence here because it doesn't work this way, but let's assume it worked like this. Gebi utu sai Horus her ich. Her ich is any idea?
It's doing pawn, or doing this in the following way. I'm not sure.
Close. You're probably thinking of like ich
On
as a
this.
question mark. Ich is
Yeah.
ash in Coptic. What? So upon
What?
what?
Okay. On what?
Which is
Like
basically
how? How is he weakening? Not really.
close. Because of what? Her ich is
Why?
basically why. You got it.
Okay.
So this is basically meaning one weakens my son Horus because of what? Now
Right.
you would think, so that would be a question, right? In other words, why does somebody weaken my son Horus? The only problem with the sentence is you have to use a second tense. So instead of writing it like this, the proper way to say it in late Egyptian is you put the iri in front, you stick the suffix pronoun on the iri, and then make this into the infinitive, and then it becomes basically irtu gebi sai horu her ich. And it means the same thing that you already translated. One weakens my son Horus because of what? For what? So why does one
Right.
weaken my son Horus or hurt my son Horus? But you have to do it with the second tense, which is basically
Got it.
using. So I hope now it makes more sense.
It does, yeah. It's interesting that the interrogative phrase is at the end of the sentence. I remember in Coptic, it's usually at the beginning, so that's something to get
Which,
used to, I guess.
which it can be, but normally not with a preposition, because it's
Okay.
Hieratic and not ich. But like an adverbial
Because it's
expression,
technically a prepositional phrase, those are at the end normally. So the
that's it.
question word can go at the end. Okay.
You got it.
Got it.
So that
Okay.
overrides in all languages you like to put, I think, question words at the beginning for emphasis.
Yeah.
But in this case, the rule that adverbs have to go at the end wins. Okay.
Includes prepositional phrases. That makes sense. Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Well done. Well done. So yeah, that was a tricky one because officially we haven't discussed second tempora yet, but they're really not that hard. The main thing is that very often they have that. Oh, and something I didn't do right. I apologize, guys. You can usually tell them apart by that extra pathetic yod, the e here.
Okay.
So it's not really irtu, but it's irtu. There's
Hmm.
an extra vowel in front. All right. I hope I didn't confuse the hell out of everybody, but
Well, it makes more sense to me at least. So thank you.
all right, cool. All right, so what did we have? He's writing to the Pesjet saying, why does one hurt my son Horus? Yeah, why does one hurt my son Horus? And then he goes on. Anybody wants to take the next one? Let me see until where it goes. First clean this up. Yeah, we still have time. Okay, let's go until here for the next one.
I can go.
All right.
All right, so we have Iu Inuk, I Iri, or Iriu, Iri, Ten, Mnechet.
Mnechet, that's right. Mnechet.
You got the little man there, Mnechet, and then we have you went back. Oh, you want to just go ahead and translate?
Oh, yeah, you could. Or honestly, if you want to, you can also put the next one. They sort of belong together. So maybe let's go until here.
Okay. All right, so then we have Ger, Iu, Inuk, Eru, or Eru, Bit. I'm assuming that's Bit.
First one is
Or Eat, no.
eat. I think the first one is eat, and the second one is bedit.
Se'anch, Necheru, Mina, Iawut, Hersa, Necheru.
Okay, let's pause there. Very good. All right, now for the meaning. And let me spell it out so I don't have to add subtitles. Inek, you said. Inek, Iruten, Nechet, I think you said. That is correct. And then let's go on. Not cooperating, sorry guys. Let's go on for the next part. Ger, Iu, Inek, Iru, It, I guess. It's still pronounced Yot in Coptic, so it looks like father. And the other one, I'm not completely sure. Is it bed or bedet? I'm not sure if it has I think it has a final T, if I'm not mistaken, but would have to double check. Erse Anech, I think you said, right? Erse Anech, Benchure, Mina Iaut, Gersa, Enchure. Okay, all right. What do you make out of it?
All right, and let's see here. So, and can I go? Can I see the glyphs?
Sure, yeah. Hang on, I'm trying to. Ugh, I'm stuck. This is so annoying. Here we go. I don't like transcription either, so Let's go for it. All right.
Okay, and I
Mhm.
prepared or made them
Mhm.
to fight or
Um,
to battle.
made
Not them,
them.
you all.
Yeah. Mhm.
You all. Nechet. For fighting or battle.
Maybe. So nechet could be a victory. It could be just the adjective strong.
Oh, yeah, strong. Like the strong arm. Nechet.
Right. Which one is it here?
See in here.
I made you in victory, maybe. I made you as strong ones. Let's see how it goes on.
Oh, yeah, it's plural too. Yeah, strong ones. Yeah. And I
Mhm.
prepared,
Mhm.
or I guess I made grain and barley, I guess,
Mhm.
um, in order for the to live in the Pasejet or to nourish
Yeah. Okay.
the gods.
Not the Pasejet, but the gods, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah, the gods. As or like the this word always kills. This is judges or this is magist.
You're
What's
thinking
it?
of the word Iaud, office, which is spelled almost the same, but the word animals has the flying squirrel determinative at the end. So
Oh,
in this case, it's the Iaud that means animals.
animals after the gods
Correct.
or
That's
gods.
right. That's it.
So flying score determinative. Without the flying score determinative, it's the judges. Is it the judges or the
Iaud is office, what you're thinking about, I think.
office?
Office.
Office.
Yeah. Because we had that wordplay earlier where Isis is trying to get Seth to basically she's trying to trip him up, and she basically tells that story about a woman whose husband has been slain and his Iaud have been taken away from his son. And of course, she's using that double entendre there that she's talking about the Iaud animals, but in reality, she means the office of her husband, Osiris. That's the same word, but I think in this case, it really just the animals. It's kind of weird that the people aren't mentioned. So the wheat and the barley, or the barley and the wheat, to nourish the gods, and after them the animals. What happened to people? Are they lumped in with the animals?
Aren't they the strong ones with the plural glyph and then the
So that's a good
maybe not?
question. Whom is he addressing here? He's addressing the Pesjet and he's addressing the Lord of all. So I think the 10 is you all, in this case being the
Ah,
gods.
that
I
makes
don't
sense.
um not sure why we don't get mentioned in this one, unless we're lumped in with the Iaud. Who knows?
I
Uh
thought he was talking to the gods as if they were his herd. Like, I nourished you like a herd. I
oh
nourished
that
the gods like they were like as if you were my animals.
oh because
That's what the me is
Oh,
doing here.
really early shepherd terminology. That's cool.
because
Yeah.
there's a me, huh?
Yeah.
So me can have two meanings. It can have the meaning like, which would make sense. So that would basically be your interpretation that like the herds. But then why would it say after the gods? Me can also be and likewise, so to say, like and also it can be a connector, connecting item. That's how
Would
I
it be
took it.
like following after, as in following the gods, like following after? I don't know
Yeah,
if it has that same idiom, but
it could, but again, the same question is why would it be the gods after the gods? That's kind of weird.
maybe the lesser gods after the more powerful gods. I don't know. It's weird.
It could be. It would make some sense. Let's take a clue from some of our bit backwards. Um,
Also, Nechet, I think we had that last week in Ramses, and it meant something like literally means strong ones, but it can mean armies or hosts. Is that the same word? I just wanted to
it
check.
could also be forces, yes.
Forces, right? Okay.
Yeah, true. That's the third one. So there's victory slash victorious, strong, and we had it for like forces, in terms of like military personnel.
Right.
Has many meanings, unfortunately.
Got it.
So, car c'est moi qui vous ai rendu vigoureux, because I am the one who has made you strong, namely the gods. Ger io inek I ir it bedet. Ah, it has a T. Good. Das ist die andere Entschuldigung. Et c'est moi qui ai fait le blé et l'orge pour faire vivre les dieux. And it's me who has created the wheat and the what is it, emmer, right? Emmer and wheat, to make the gods live, se'anech, to give them life. I think we said nourish, which I think is also okay. Mina
That's the causative.
iot. Yes, indeed, that's a causative. Comme les bêtes après les dieux. Like the animals after the gods. I don't know. This is weird. This is a little bit weird. I have the feeling there's something in here that we don't fully understand, to be honest. There's something in here. Does Gardiner have something? Let's see what he makes out of it. Oops.
Maybe it's like we nourish
Yeah.
the gods, like the gods nourish the animals.
And even so, the living creatures. Oh, he translates it as living creatures. So not animals, but creatures. Maybe, huh? It seems to me
Animals
like.
using the literal Latin definition of like ensouled beings or something.
Right.
that have
Exactly.
anima
Exactly. Like everything that has soul, yeah. Kind of weird.
or anima.
I have the feeling, one thing I've learned over the years, also from like long time ago tutoring Latin, if it doesn't make complete sense, you're normally missing something. And that's the feeling that I have here. There's
True,
something
yeah.
that
You have the Simpson translation?
I do not. What's in there?
It's Simpson. I have it, I think. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, God.
I have a grammar point to make afterwards, so hope we can go over by like 2-3 minutes, just because I don't want to close without pointing out something key here.
Page are we on? 14.
Yeah, 14:11.
Okay. Okay. It was I who made you mighty, and it was I who created barley and emmer to sustain the gods as well as the cattle after the gods. Yeah, that's not helpful.
Huh, okay, so cattle. That honestly, I thought Yao is more like cattle and not
I
all
did
living
too.
being. So there's something in here mythology-wise, I think, that would be interesting to dig a bit deeper. But before we do that, just looking at the clock, we're already 1 minute past. I wanted to point out, so this here is a nominal sentence, right? It's using enak or inak. So this has to be a nominal sentence, inak something. Enak iruten. So this has to be some kind of participle. As you can also tell by the fact that it has the pathetic yod again. There's 3 things that take the pathetic yod. Imperatives, second tempora, and participle / relative forms. Take that in late Egyptian too. So in this case, because we know we're looking for some kind of nominal element, this one here has to be a participle. The one who has made you. Anak iruten, I am the one who has made you im nechetu, or im nech. Yeah, nechetu. I don't know if there's a plural W in there, but into strong ones or as strong ones. So I have made you strong. Cheriu enak, so another enak. Kind of weird. You would expect another pathetic yod here. Honestly, I would have expected a pa as well. In which case the pathetic yod goes away, but I would have expected an article. I am the one who has made. I am not completely sure why in both cases you can get away without using the article. In Coptic, you absolutely would have to. So this is kind of weird to my understanding. but he means it. I mean, he does it in both cases. He doesn't add an article. So, but the Iru again is I'm the one who made emmer and wheat, and the rest then I think should be normal. Seanich is just an R plus infinitive. That's normal. You can do that in all stages of Egyptian to indicate like the purpose. So just R plus infinitive. But this here is key. These are both nominal sentences, and then you need some kind of nominal verb form to make this work. So I am the one. Just wanted to point that out before we close for completeness sake. And I would say let's do the hieratic next time.
Cool.
Very cool. Yes, indeed. Thanks so much, all. And see you all hopefully next Saturday.
Sounds
Thank
good. Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
See ya.